Today is February 3rd, 2025. I have booted into BookwormPup64 using Ventoy USB stick. Just to make it easy to follow, let me just remove the Ventoy stick now since we won't be needing it. So I'm just going to remove the Ventoy stick. So I have an external hard drive that's recording the screencast, and also it has a Puppy ISO that we will need, and I also have an internal hard drive that we're gonna be using to install BookwormPup64 into it and then boot from it. So that's what we're gonna try to do today, and that's the first thing we'll have to do is to make sure that it is in legacy BIOS. This will not work in UEFI BIOS. So if you know how to get into the your own BIOS in your PC, that's the sure way of doing it. If not, you may have to run this command in a terminal to see. I just middle mouse click in a terminal, and then if you get an error, no such file or directory, it means that this is running in legacy BIOS. That's you have to make sure that it is legacy BIOS before you can follow the steps that I'm going to outline on how to install into the hard drive. So first thing what we have to do is we have to use gparted and then partition the internal hard drive. So let me just go ahead and super D will just get a fresh desktop, and then we'll go ahead and get a gparted F12, and then we'll go to system and gparted. In Bookworm it's even easier. There is a launcher that comes with a BookwormPup64, so it's just easier just to go ahead and launch it with the control spacebar and gparted. So we have gparted here, and what we're gonna have to do is partition SDG. So we're just gonna go all the way down. This is the actually hard drive, internal hard drive. So what we're gonna do is once we have that here, is that we're gonna have to wipe it all out, and then we'll just go to device and create partition table. So you want to make sure that it is msdos table type. So we'll just go ahead and make sure that it is msdos, and you'll wipe everything off in that hard drive. So then what we want to do is make space for Puppy Linux. In this case, we're gonna install a Bookworm Pup64, but you may want to install other Puppy Linux later on. So let's just give it, say, we'll give it a 10,000 megabyte or roughly 10 gig. So, and then ext4 is fine, and we're gonna label it as pups, and then add. So we've created the puppy partition where we're going to have mainly all the necessary puppy files in here. Now, because of a unique nature of the Puppy Linux ecosystem, the save folder plays a very important part in proper functioning. So what I want to do is give it a hefty space for save partition. So we'll just go new and again, and we're gonna leave a little space for approximately 2 gig. Let's say almost 4 gig at the end here for Linux swap. So But here right now it's a save partition, and I usually like to just make sure that use a capital SAV for save partition. And then if you have a less than 4 gig of RAM, you need this swap partition. If not, if you have more than 4, you really don't need it. But I'll just go through the steps of creating a swap partition. So, and then you go to Linux swap, and then add, and then we're just gonna go ahead and apply everything. So you usually just takes a couple of seconds here. And then there is one last step as far as partition. We want to make sure that we don't forget to put a flag on a first partition on the puppy PUPS partition. So, and this is done. So we're going to just click on the right with a right click, and then go to Manage Flags, and then Boot. So we're finished with a first step, which is using gparted msdos again, and we created pups, SAV, and Linux swap. Now we're gonna have to install a BookwormPup64 into the first partition here. So Control D, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and click on the first partition, and then we're going to create a folder here, because you may want to install other Puppy Linux later. I like to just we're going to create a folder. So Bookworm and new, so you say your latest version of BookwormPup64 and NKB. So we're gonna just make a separate folder just in case you wanna later on put in other Pup64, for example. And so I just want everything organized. So we'll go ahead and place a Bookworm files in there. So we're going to have to open up external drive where I have the Linux files. So here are the Linux files, mainly puppy files, and this is what we're going to be installing here. So we're just going to open it up, and then we want the mount image, and then a minus sign again, and then we want to make sure that we copy the SFS files. So there's one I'm gonna just left mouse click, and with a control key down, we're gonna grab that, and there's another SFS file, there's another SFS file, there's another one, and there's generally speaking there's about 3 or 4 SFS files. In this case there's 5. You also need VM Linux, which is a kernel, and then init rd, which is a file that really starts the whole the process. And then ucode cpio if there is a file of this name. So what you want to do is just grab them all, and then left mouse click, and then drag them and copy it into the folder. So that's usually a pretty quick process. So now we're gonna have to create a grub file menu list. So this is what we're going to be using is grub.dos is the program we'll be using. And what we want to do here, let me just save that first, and then control the super D, and then go to grub.dos. So here is grub.dos, and this will help automate the process of creating a grub. So now, right now, we're using SDG. So it's down here, and we want to search only within this device. That's where we have the bookworm pup64, and we want a menu list. So we're just going to click OK. And then for now, we'll just make it easy for us to just follow this. We'll just rename it with the bookworm NKB, and everything else is fine. I don't have Windows, but it always puts in Windows separately, so we're going to OK it. And then this is install SDG, just final confirmation. So now we want to edit the menu list. So here it is, and here is the BWNKB. And then first thing what we want to do is we want to just delete the windows. And for me, I never seem to use advanced menu either, so I usually like to just delete it itself. Now there's one important step that I want to make sure that we perform. Before pfix, what we want to do is give it a psave. So this specifies where to place a save folder. So what we want to equals, we want to copy the label that we gave for the partition, which was a capital SAV, and then colon, and then within it we're going to make a save folder. So let me just do that now. So here is a save save partition, and within it we're going to make a directory lowercase save create. So that's where the save folder is going to be placed within it. Okay, so now this is everything. We want to just save it now. So it's saved, and then we want to just so we've done this part. Now we're going to have to reboot, and then we'll continue on. So when you reboot though, you're going to get a warning that whether you want to save it or not. You do not want to save at this point. Now I have booted from my internal hard drive with a bookworm. So here's a quick setup screen, and I with the America Los Angeles, and I clicked on the time from internet, and then I'm gonna give it an OK, and then it's probably a good idea just to go ahead and auto mount the partitions. So this is where we have the pups, so we'll just go right click, run pmount, and then pups. We want to go ahead and mount partition at boot automatically, and this is save partition, so it will mount partition on boot automatically if there is a save folder being created, but we'll go ahead and click it anyway, and then everything is all set. And then now is we want to go ahead and leave, and then reboot, and then we want to go ahead and save. And I just don't want to stop the recording here, so we'll just go save, and then yes, normal, and you just have to finish. Well, we'll just, I think there's I can still safely go ahead and normal. And then yes, we want a folder, okay, and then OK, and then you don't have to put anything in here. So, but you may want to put your initials or whatever. So, and then I better stop recording before I mess this up. So now I have rebooted with the first save folder being created. So now you get this new icon. So this is just to you can save. You can create a new save folder at any time by clicking on it, and then you can see that we wanted it auto mount on boot, so the first partition of the hard drive auto mounts fine. And let's take a look at the save partition. So we'll click on it, and there's save folder, so minus save folder, and then within it there is indeed save folder that has been created. So everything is working so this is how you can install a Bookworm PUP64 in a legacy BIOS internal hard drive. I hope